Hello there, boys and girls, and welcome to Match 14. Today we are playing Victor Vermis and his team of Amazons, and I suspect that most of you veteran players are already cringing at the thought of Amazons.
Nobody likes Amazons. Nobody.
Especially because we have no tackle. So, we are receiving the ball, which is nice, and look at that.
Yeah, rerolls.
Cheerleaders got us the reroll. Exactly 2 cheerleaders. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It was never a thing until,
until we got cheerleaders, and then once we got cheerleaders, it was perfect. That's awesome.
Exactly.
So welcome to why Amazons are bullshit. We rolled a both down and a defender stumbles, and the blitzers have block and dodge.
Yep.
Also, they have the greatest names ever.
Yeah, feel free to ignore our voices and just read these names for a while. So while I futilely try to punch players with block and dodge, 7 deadly sins. Why don't you talk about Amazon?
Players with block and dodge. Okay, so Amazons are probably the least interesting team, stat-wise. Every single player on the Amazon roster is 6 movement, 3 agility, 3 strength, and 7 armor value, which puts them below average on the whole taking punches thing. But they also all have dodge, which makes them above average at the whole not falling down thing, and makes them a huge pain in the ass. Now, if you'll recall, dodge means that when you get the POW with the little exclamation point in it, the defender stumbles, it doesn't work. And so that means that since we have no tackle, that's an entire side of the die that just is non-functional for the entire match.
Yep.
That's bad.
That's very gross.
Blitzers are like 80k and come with block and dodge and 6 movement, which is the stupidest thing ever. And their linemen women are only 50k with dodge, and everyone hates that. Amazons are really frustrating to play at low TV. They become even more frustrating to play at mid-TV when all of their players have block. And Amazons are just generally not a good time, ever. Us having no tackle doesn't help that.
Yeah, they're going to be very effective at bashing us. Even though we have plenty of Mighty Blow, we have Claw, which, as you will notice, because they're all armor value 7, will do nothing.
Completely useless.
Completely useless.
It turns out that the counter to Claw is being dog shit at taking hits anyway.
Yep.
Yeah. So, despite the fact that they're all AV7 and therefore should explode spectacularly, they're also... And every single linewoman on this dude's team has block.
Or wrestle.
So, there's a couple that have wrestle.
Yep.
Which is also not helpful. So... We basically only have a 1 in 6 chance to knock down any of his players, which is really bad.
Yeah.
So, but if we start... And he also has a lot of players. Let me check this.
14, I believe.
Yes, he has 14 players, which
Yep.
makes up for the fact that his players have a tendency to spontaneously combust.
Sometimes. Not always.
I mean, if you knock down an AV7 player, there's a better than half chance that they take at least an injury roll of some sort.
You would think that. Again, foreshadowing just a little bit.
Okay. I don't like this. I don't like where this is going.
And that's the big problem with Amazons, is that they are armor value 7, and so... And I'm going to end up, because I do have the strength advantage and because I have Frenzy, I'm going to end up throwing more punches than they will. The problem is, if I can't get them to break armor, and he does have 3 on the sideline, if I can't break armor, then we're in for a bad time, because Amazons, for being armor value 7 and them being at a strength disadvantage, they are incredibly bashy and they love throwing punches, mostly by virtue of the fact that in return, when they get punched, they're likely to not go down.
Yeah, they're rowdy ladies. It's not great.
By this point in team value, we are I think we're at 1700-ish. You're expected to have at least 2-3 players with tackle, mostly to combat the sort of elf and dodge game, and we have 0.
And that's actually kind of one of the issues with Necromantic, is that, Amazons are very susceptible to being out-elfed by elfy teams, and not being able to really bash back correctly. And against bashy teams, they're really susceptible to just being punched in the face because you have tackle and 2 blitzers, and your number of players with tackle and mighty blow really starts going up. But for Necromantic, where they only have 2 players that come with block, and those players would often rather get guard because Flesh Golems level so slowly.
Yeah.
It's actually, I'd say that this is one of the few teams where Amazons really have a legitimately good matchup.
Yeah, this
simply
is really
because oh, that's not helpful.
Nope.
It's actually kind of hard to slot tackle into a Necromantic team because, your wolves you want one to be kind of runny, which, the fact that one of our wolves has a stat up, and then you also have to get block on the Flesh Golems and the wolves and the ghouls before kind of going out of your way for those luxury skills like tackle, which don't do anything if your opponent doesn't just, have dodge all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of hard to slot tackle in some cases, and those are the cases where Amazons shine. They shine really early TV, and they shine against specialty teams that can't get those kind of all-rounder generic skills that are good.
Yeah. Credit to Victor Vermis. This is a very well-built team for what he wants to accomplish, and it is a not great matchup against me. Reasonably, I maybe could have fit 1 tackle on this team. If I was building this team myself, I probably would have gotten rid of, say, pass on White Power and given him tackle instead. But that's only 1 player. What is that going to do against the whole team of Dodgers?
Especially since I believe that he does not have Mighty Blow, and you really need both tackle and Mighty Blow to start really doing stuff to
yes,
Amazons. That's helpful.
Yes, that's a case where Mighty Blow didn't matter, but that is a KO'd player, which is 1 less player to try to get through here. So this is going to sort of be the position until I can break through. I sent White Power out as a bit of a probe, just sort of trying to get past his screen, because he's going to be screening the ever loving hell out of me because of all that dodge. That is 3 pluses every time he wants to make those dodges, but if you can get them to work out, then you can set up a pretty effective wall, because it requires me to POW.
Another thing is that since we are very clearly going to lose the punching game, just because the dice really, legitimately should not be on our side this game.
Well, they never are.
Yeah, but they really shouldn't be this game. If we started just murdering Amazons left and right, I'd be calling bullshit.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
But because we should not, we should probably break even because we're pretty durable, and we have some legit players, but, and he doesn't have a whole lot of Mighty Blow. He's got literally 1. He's, Madam Sploosh has, tackle piling on a Mighty Blow, so
that's the Santos
kind
killer.
Of terrifying. Yeah, that's SantosFucker.exe.
Yep.
But we really have the kind of elfiness advantage. He does have 2 movement 7 players, and both of them have Shadowing, which is annoying. But we have an 8 movement wolf, a 9 movement wolf, and 2 7 movement, players. Yep.
I'm going to dodge out of these tackle zones just because I have 5 rerolls, if you haven't noticed, and also because... because I don't want to get surfed and get knocked out of the play. But I guess I did anyway. I double skulled the POW, or double skulled the dodge roll, so it didn't matter.
Something important to note is that surfs do not take armor value into account, whereas failing a dodge does. That wasn't helpful, but generally it's safer to fall down on a failed dodge than it is to get surfed, especially with armor value 8 players.
Yep.
Because you're just going to ignore that armor value. So it's usually a good idea to, if your player's pinned and you aren't counting on that player to be holding down the ones on the sidelines, it's usually a good idea to just go for the dodge. Just try and make it work and see what happens. In this case, the KO happened, but it probably isn't a big deal considering that he was going to be off the pitch anyway.
Yep.
And he had a bigger chance of getting real hurt, real bad.
And White Power's a piece of shit, so who cares?
Concur.
Luckily, I do have the nice Flesh Golem wall set up here, with help from Grave Robin Williams to sort of secure him from getting too far over. Of course, he's gonna do the best he can to continue to just wall me off and keep punching away at me.
This is what Stand Firm is really good for, is if you can have that, wall where 4 players or so are being held back.
Oh no.
That would have been helpful. And that's the tackle one, too. That's not good.
That's also the piling on one.
Pilot on. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't care as much as I'm rooting for New Order. I'm also rooting for piling on.
Yeah,
Always
yeah.
root for piling on.
Always root for piling on.
So the upside is that McGruff was not holding the ball.
Yeah.
But he's still way the fuck out there, and he got stunned.
I believe from where he was, he could have scored if he was on the ground.
I would also like to note that this is why you get a dirty player. Because if someone has piling on just puts them on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So you should then go over and step on them as hard as possible.
Yep.
Because at that point, you know that they are just out to hurt your players. So piling on is like, I know that there's kind of a kind of courtesy that you don't really foul in non-important matches.
I will foul
piling on is
every
the
time.
exception to that rule. You
Absolutely
100% foul players with piling on if they use piling on. Or even if they don't, just kill the fuck out of them.
I can't remember if we've had that discussion before, but yeah, from a mechanic standpoint, you should foul piling on because that's why it's there. So now I'm going to continue to roll pushes and both downs, but I'm in no hurry to score. Obviously, half of his team is past my line, and I'm just going to sort of set up right there. I believe I neglected the fact he can get around and get to me, but that's dodges and GFIs. But I just sort of forgot that Huff and Stuff, I believe Huff and Stuff is plus movement, if I'm remembering correctly.
And is not marked at all, so
she's
just going to run over and make your life sad.
And so she can punch me. I do have Blodge. I thought she would have to going for it, which isn't a huge consideration, but I wanted to. I mean, I could have just moved one more to the right, but I didn't, so.
I mean, the upside is that the two tackle players, Percolata and Madame Sploosh, are way over there, which is not where Santos is.
Yes.
So the interesting thing is that right now we're kind of doing a little tug-of-war style thing where we try and get him to commit too many players to one side, and then we run around to the other side of our Flesh Golem wall.
Mm-hmm.
And by doing that, just kind of eke our way back and forth.
I'm basically waiting for the point where either I can take out enough of his players that he can't do anything to me. Of course, this is going to be very useful at clearing a path, because he's moving two players down here, and he has a lot of players on the right side.
If this is successful, it's really bad, but it isn't, so instead we get to...
Hey, Blotch.
It's even more. Reroll and safe blocks rarely works.
Mm-hmm. And so now we have a very clear wall, as it is already, and this is basically that we are at a standstill until either of us engage the other, and he is now taking this opportunity to engage the living hell out of me.
Yeah, but we're in an interesting and kind of weird situation where we can start like getting aggressive on him.
Yep.
And he's moved all his players to the back and to the right.
Yeah.
So
he literally just made the wall for me to run past him by.
That really helps too, because now we can punch Percolata out of the way and try and get that tackle out of there. Because right now, tackle is making it really hard to make a break with Santos von Hammerstein. But even if we get a push on Percolata there, it's really easy for Santos von Hammerstein to just jet straight through. And there's a push.
You can't reasonably expect Amazons to, and luckily Guard here is making itself useful. You can't expect to knock down Amazons. So here, even if I don't get the POW, which I do, wrestle, that's right, the head cheerleader has wrestle. So that tackle zone is now eliminated thanks to the power
we don't even need to dodge.
Of Grappling Mans. And one more Mighty Blow Wolf Blitz, and we will have cleared ourselves quite a path.
Yeah, this is really hard to deal with for the Amazons.
Yep. Mighty Blow, breaking armor.
As was noted before, all Amazons except for the plus movement ones are movement 6, which means that when we book the hell out of here, it's pretty impossible for him to reasonably catch up to us. I mean, he can mark you.
Yeah.
But it's not a great, and that stun really helps too. We are in a good position to score on turn 6, which is the perfect time to score because Amazon's, as noted, not great with the whole 2-turn touchdown thing. Especially with no throwers.
Those of you astute players will notice that moving Flesh Gordon there probably wasn't the smartest thing, because he can still run around Flesh Gordon. Also, I don't know why I pushed that player near the ball. That was really dumb of me. I guess I wasn't thinking about the fact that that player could get up in there. But if I could do that again, I would probably put Flesh Gordon either standing next to Huff and Stuff and Lady Fistra and making him make those punches, which would be 1 DBs, or putting him 2 to the left or 3 to the left of Bone Cruncher and walling him off and making him go through tackle zones.
I would have put him only next to Huff and Stuff because that would have
That's true as well.
He doesn't even get a 1 DB,
Mhm.
and it's just a real clean wall there.
Or do the GFI to the upper left and fully block off
Yes.
Huff and Stuff. So because of those two mistakes in tactics,
It's not that big because he
Yeah.
couldn't really hit Santos, and that player doesn't have sidestep or any of the other things that would make this really difficult. So all we really need to do is go with Blitzer, and we can actually surf now.
That's true.
I mean, granted, Whoomp There It is probably going to go be
Blitz.
rude and stand next to Blitzer or Blitz.
Yes, Whoomp There It is going for the kill.
Oh, rude.
Yep, that is a plus movement shadowing player.
Oh god, they're all fucking plus movement shadowing
Well,
players. And there's the POW.
not unreasonable, but that's really bad, and that's really bad.
That's the worst possible scatter there too.
Yes, it is.
Oh well. Rip our chances at scoring.
Mm-hmm.
This just got really hard, really fast.
Continuing to pile on. I unfortunately don't have the players to foul that person. I could foul him with McGruff, but that would be foolish.
Yeah. That's the
Okay.
kind of thing you do like halfway through the second half when you're just tired of your star player being piled on.
Mm-hmm.
So, this just got really shitty. The dodge there doesn't help.
Yep. So let's
This is hard.
let's get stupid, I think, is the answer.
Oh yeah!
I
It's stupid time.
failing to be able to break armor or kill anybody through 6 turns. I'm going to resort to some desperation here. I've remembered that Whoomp There It is shadowing and that I need to get her off of the ball. I do forget, however, that Huff and Stuff is the other shadowing player.
Yes,
So-
that's bad.
If I want to pick up this ball in this tackle zone and get out of there, because I can't move them both. I can move one with a Santos blitz and then pick up the ball. But that is picking up the ball in a tackle zone, and then I have to shadow to get out. And where I am right now, I can either run down and to the right, which sort of ensures that I stay stuck and makes it very easy for the Amazons to dodge all of my stuff. Wrestling,
That's
knocking
not
down
helpful.
Blitzer. And so it's basically at this point where I decide either I'm scoring here or nobody's scoring this whole half. So I'm going to go for it.
Yeah, you gotta go for it.
If there's one player who can go for it, it's Santos.
There exists a time in every player's life where you have to do something truly stupid.
Yes. This is Santos, though. Remember this.
Yes.
It was at this point that I
Never reroll
realized.
shadowing.
It was at this point that I realized that Huff and Stuff had shadowing. So let's go. GFI's shadowing, dodging. We're fine. We're fine. Oh god. Oh god. Yes. Look at him yell. Look at him yell in that dumbass face. Yes. Santos does
That
not
was
give.
rude and awesome and
a flying
ridiculous and exactly why shadowing is hilarious.
Shadowing is awesome.
Yeah.
That was even movement allowance. I think we've talked about shadowing. If not, who cares? Look it up. But that was some rude as hell shadowing play, and Santos
This is why
literally
you
doesn't
make
care.
the rolls where you roll all the dice.
Yep.
I, being a man with greater intestinal fortitude, would have just made all of those rolls with one click.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe smart, but I am.
It
'Cause
wasn't smart. That wouldn't have been smart. But I just
Or sorry,
at
right.
that point I just don't care.
Yeah. My thought process was if I can at least get close without, or if I use the reroll, but I can at least get close, I can sort of hope that I can sidestep in at the end zone, but that doesn't work.
Oh, Pelvis Costello is taking a nap.
He's immediately okay, which is fine.
Yes.
That's basically like a stun, right?
Yeah, pretty much. No, it's like a KO.
A KO that, unlike White Power, comes back.
Yes. What a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
So if you might notice, the lighting has gotten really shitty.
Yep.
That means that it's very sunny.
Mhm.
Hooray! That means that it's harder to pass, which makes White Power even more useless and doesn't affect this match really at all.
It might affect this next 2 or 3 turns, because he may have to make a pass here.
Oh yes, it actually that's really good because it means that it's incredibly hard for him to make the 2-turn, considering he has nobody with pass or catch.
It is a 3-turn, but it's still hard.
Oh, it's a 3-turn, whatever.
Yep.
it's actually still really hard and really bad.
Mhm.
Especially since Amazons have throwers and catchers, but you wouldn't know it looking at Victor Vermis' team.
Yep.
I don't know if it's because he's being a min-maxy jerk, though I wouldn't be surprised. Amazons tend to lean toward the bashier than the elfier.
Yes.
And catchers are a little more expensive. I think they're like 70k.
They are 70k,
catch.
and they start with catch, and they also get agility access on normals. Normally,
which is actually good.
Yep, linemen only get general access.
But the thing is that with agility access, the main thing that you really want on a lineman-esque character is dodge, and they already have it. So
yeah,
it's not a
sidestep.
huge deal.
Sidestep is a nice bonus, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's really mostly it.
Mhm.
Okay, so they've gone with the Super Mega Ultra Bunker.
Yep, which is fine by me because I have a bunch of dudes who are not being touched, and so they can punch.
Yay! And that's also pretty far back to make a 2-turn touchdown.
Hooray!
Ooh, yeah. Santos displays his worth yet again.
Santos, he's a man of mini skills.
Action.
He's also
Santos is a man of action.
That's true. I'm going to continue to punch players, maybe dedicating a little too many players right here to punch.
I would disagree. I think that punching is the number one thing, especially moving those players out of the way.
Mm-hmm. I forgot about
Oh my
shadowing,
god, I
which
hope he shadows here.
That could have been really bad.
That could have been really bad, but it wasn't.
Luckily, it
It's
wasn't.
pretty okay.
I didn't punch. I didn't knock anybody down, but I certainly tried.
Yeah, but it works. Hey, you got a KO.
Yeah,
Santos, and that's actually really important.
can't complain about that.
The thing is that because of how far back he is, and because his players are all movement 6, and they have to like run really big, wide arcs around, it's really hard for him to score with anyone other than Loomp or Lady Fistra.
Mm-hmm.
And so I believe that it was the right choice to dedicate that many players to punching.
Yeah, and it just means that they are all right there at the point of being able to make a play.
Also, one of the interesting things is that because of how skilled all of his players are, every single one of his players, if you get any of them off the field except for maybe like a couple of the ones that only have block, it's really important.
Yes.
And especially the players that are there, like, I believe Sloppy Jalopy is one of the tackle ones.
Mm-hmm.
Grimy Goose, unfortunately, is just block. But still, having any amount of players off the field just makes things much better.
As soon as I press the end turn button...
no!
He's not going to. He'd rather have that player where he is.
Wow.
As soon as I press...
that's a ghoul that he already broke armor on.
He really wants to score.
I immediately don't think that actually mattered.
I immediately regretted putting Beef Slab where he was because right where he is, he's kind of pointless, and he could have been blocking what is about to happen right here, which is where 1 million Amazons flood the bottom left part of the pitch.
He had to make a bunch of blocks to get through there.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised that he didn't pile on Head Cheerleader, considering that would have been that's a ghoul, a player without regen.
That is true.
And also a player with Wrestle, which is kind of annoying because it's one of the few players that can still just put his dudes on the pitch. Yes.
The Head Cheerleader manages to be, with one skill, one of the most effective, actually probably the most effective player removal player on my team against Amazons. This is real bad.
This is actually legit bad, yes.
This is me shaking my head at Beef Slab's positioning because this could have all been prevented.
Yes, but it's hard to tell those kind of things. That really doesn't help either.
No. Dr. White can't.
The back-to-back stuns.
Can't get his shit together.
No. And unfortunately, that was actually Mighty Blow doing a thing against Head Cheerleader. Mm-hmm. Which is always annoying. Friggin' Mighty Blow.
Alright, so how are we gonna do this?
It's a good question, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're gonna start by punching that lady.
Yep. I think the correct answer is to just roll a billion dice.
Welcome to Blood Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Is that going to be Blitzer, like, dodging 8 times and going and punching some stuff?
That is going to be me trying to stand in his way or around his way. And it starts with Beef Slap standing next to that person. Because he has yet to fail a dodge with the dodge reroll, but you can always hope that the 3+3 reroll fails.
The best way to punish teams with dodge is to force them to dodge.
Yep.
Because it's very easy to get a false sense of confidence that says, oh, these players with dodge will always be able to dodge.
Right.
V plus with dodge is nothing if not imperfect. So always put your opponent in a position where they have to try the dodge, and then make them pay.
Mm-hmm. So again, here's me rolling a shit-zillion dice.
Yeah, but look at your rerolls.
Yep, exactly.
Freaking extra reroll.
I thought I could knock that guy free, but then I remembered, oh yeah, I used my blitz. So let's get out of here, I think. So many minus 2 DBs. I'd rather just run. McGruff can be knocked out of the way to be put free.
I would not do anything with Blitzer right now.
I decided that Santos can basically lock down the part of the field that he's on.
4 plus dodge, hooray. 3
yes.
plus dodge, hooray. Actually, that's really good.
Yep.
That's less good. Why are you doing that?
Because Santos is, if you'll notice, it's turn 8, and I believe Skunk Hunt Rug Puncher is only 6 movement, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. So he has to do 2 going for it. At this point, if I can keep Santos standing up, Santos blocks him and makes him make another dodge to go score.
Yeah, but he's 4 agility.
That's true. But on the other hand, simply punching McGruff out of the way accomplishes the same thing and better because it lets you punch McGruff.
That's true.
This way I stand a slight chance of being able to stand in his way somehow. Though I suspect he'll be able to position his players in such a way that even if he doesn't knock me down, the way that I sidestep will not affect his being able to run into the end zone. And of course he has tackle.
That's helpful, but less helpful because tackle.
Yep.
Of course he has tackle.
I wish I had tackle.
I wish you had tackle too.
I wonder if he's eating pilot on. Of course he is.
And he got the mighty blow on the injury, which is not good.
Mm-hmm. And then he goes for the handoff, which I wasn't really expecting. It wasn't something that I planned for, let's say. If the tackle didn't bring down Santos like that, that would have changed the story quite a bit. But that's okay. So that's another half in the books, and the second half is going to be real gross. So I hope you guys stick around for it. We'll see you then.